In today's video, I'm going to show you the cheapest way to get started with cold email. A lot of times I get the question, hey, what's the cheapest way? How do I get started? What's the least cost way I can dip my toe into cold email to see if I can get results for it? And today I'm going to show you the exact process I would use if I only had $100 to spend on cold email. So this is the exact process. Let's get into it. I obviously covered the things up on the screen here, just basically so we can make sure we keep our attention on what I'm talking about and not looking at the full system. If you want to, you can download this full system or at least a screenshot for it in the link below. And I'll put it there. All right. So basically, when it comes to cold email, the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a sending tool. And basically that's somewhere where you can send out the cold emails too. If you're unfamiliar with cold email is basically sending out a large amount of cold emails or emails to people that maybe you're not necessarily acquainted with, but you know could potentially use your service. So the best way to send it out would be using Instantly AI, which right now is $37 a month, and that is for the lowest cost. That would be the lowest cost option that they have. And if you go to pricing here, it's this growth model. And yes, you can only upload 1,000 contacts, but what you can do is you can send them to 5,000 emails monthly. So what that means is you can send 1,000 contacts and then remove the ones that didn't reply and then put in new ones to send. So you could send up to 5,000 contacts a month, but if you're really just on a budget, you're trying to go cheap as possible, just go for this growth plan. Next thing you're going to need is you're going to need domains. And what I like to say is go with what's called a pork bun for domains. You don't want to send cold email from your main domain because it potentially could get marked as spam. And that's not going to be good for you long-term, especially if you're trying to grow a business. So pork bun, right now, they're $11 for per domain, but it's $11 per year. So if you do two domains, that's going to be $22, right? So obviously, we have sending tool, then we have domains. And then what we need to do is we need to do inboxes. So basically what you're setting up is you're setting up where you're going to send the emails from. So some people send it from @gmail.com. You don't want to use Gmail. You want to use your custom domain, which is what we just bought here. And if you have questions about any of this process, feel free to reach out to me, or if you'd like us to set it up, we can set it up ourselves or for you to make it most optimal and actually get you leads for your business. Check the first link in the description. So I really like Outlook emails. And the reason why I really like Outlook emails is because I find that they have the most value right now in the market and they land mostly in the inbox, whether you're sending to Google or Outlook. I found that Google inboxes don't land as much, but to each their own. If you find better success with one, better success with the other, it's up to you. So right now, GoDaddy has this amazing deal. And if you don't know GoDaddy, you can buy your domains from there. I don't really recommend buying your domains because they're more expensive, but if you want to, you can buy straight from here. But GoDaddy has this amazing partnership, with Microsoft, where you can actually buy the domains for $199 a year. Now, this is a little bit, you need to read the fine print, but basically you need to pay, $199 per user, but then it's going to renew, or you're going to pay, for the whole year right up front. So it's basically $34 today. So obviously, if you are actually trying to do it for less than $100, you could go with this thing called Cheap Inboxes. It's probably the best one in the cold email space right now. But basically, you can buy, one cold email inbox for $3 a month. And what I recommend for you, especially if you're buying 2 domains, probably having maybe 6. So if you buy 3 to 5, I think based on the calculations, if you're actually trying to keep it under $100, you'd actually only be able to buy 5. But, buy 5 for $3 a month, that's $15. It's pretty cheap. Next, I'm going to say go for leads and using Apollo. Apollo is a amazing lead source, and it's what everyone uses. And what you use Apollo for is basically putting the information of the customers that you're looking for. So if you look here, you can choose, and once you sign up for the platform, you can do this yourselves. but you can choose what industry they are, where they're located at, what their email status is, what their job titles. So you'll be able to create a filtered list based on the people that you actually want to reach out to. The platform is free to look at, but if you want to download things, it costs a lot of money. So what people like to do is they like to scrape it via Appify, which is $1.20 for 1,000 leads. Or if you don't want to go through Appify, you can just use what I like to use is Export Apollo. It's $5 for 1,000. It's kind of on the more pricey side, but it does a really good job and it does it really easily. You can also verify inside the platform. So the last thing I will say is if you want to verify, Million Verifier. So if you're using Export Apollo, you can actually get a deal where they will charge you $3 for 1,000. So it will be $8 for 1,000. Whereas if you go through the Appify, you're going to need, to pay $5. So it'd be a total of $6. So it's not as much more expensive to go through Export Apollo as you would think. But, I will leave links in the description for all these tools. I am affiliated with Instantly. So if you use my link, you will be giving me money. If you hate me, don't use my link. It's up to you guys. So let's just do the math real quick based on if you were to do this. So just going through this real quick, you have your sending tool. So where you're going to send the cold emails from, the domain. So what the location is or what the website, at whatever. And then your inboxes. So, some people use at Gmail. So yours would be at whatever your business, but where you're actually going to send, what inboxes you're going to send them from, who you're going to send them to, and then making sure they're verified. And I want to say, if obviously you're on a budget here, but if you want to send 1,000 emails, you're probably going to need to download probably about 2,000 or 1,200 emails from Apollo. I put 4,000 here based on the amount you can send, because you can only send about 20 to 30 emails a month. So just do the math based on kind of what we see. And actually what I'll do is I'll zoom out real quick if anyone wants to take a screenshot or anyone wants to just kind of see the whole layout right there. So here's the maths of doing it, and actually create a spreadsheet here. If you'd like the spreadsheet, I'll also put the link in the description. But basically the way it works out is, so if you have a domains and you're buying 2 domains, and then, you have one sending tool. So this is all per month. So this is dollars per month. You have your inboxes. So you're buying 5 inboxes from Cheap Inboxes at $5. It's the cheapest way to go about it. You're buying 1,000, or you're buying leads, and this is per 1,000. So if you're buying 4,000 leads, you would it'd be about $480 if you do through the scraper. And then if you're verifying a 5, for 1,000 leads, so it'd be $20. So total, that'd be $97 a month. And based on that, you'd be able to send, I recommend 20, but you can do 20 to 30. So basically, you would be able to send, let's just do the math real quick. You'd be able to send 3,000 emails that month, which lines up with the leads you're going to download. And then let's just say you get a 1% reply rate, a meeting rate, you're able to, for those 1% replies, you're able, 30% you're actually able to get on a meeting. So that means 2 are either negative or, they don't want to jump on a meeting. And then your close rate is 30%. That's a pretty high close rate, but I think it's definitely doable. Especially if you have people that are interested. And then let's say you're charging $1,500 a month. You can obviously change this math if you'd like to. But so you're going to send 3,000 emails, you're going to close 2 deals, and then you're going to make $3,000. So this is a 30x ROI on your money. And that's why I love cold email so much, is because you can really get a good ROI. And I put that math down here. So based on this is the cheapest way to get started with cold email. This is the best way, I think, to get started. Honestly, if you want to start with cold email, I'd recommend starting at $1,000. And the reason is because you can just send more. And the greatest part about it is if you start this way, you start getting a couple clients, you can always buy 4 or 5 more domains, 10 to 15 more inboxes, and just sky's the limit here. So like I said, all the links for this would be in the description. If you'd like us to set the system up in your business, feel free to reach out to me. This typically only works with a B2B business, but the link will be in the description for you to reach out to me. And if you have any questions, feel free to just message me on Instagram. Thank you very much.
Free audio post-production by Alphonic.com.